Welcome to Everything You Need to Know About the Ascension of Humanity, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern science and spiritual evolution gets real. I'm Heather, an energy healer, channel, and spiritual coach with Divine Ascension Company. Each week, we're diving deep into the mysteries of human consciousness, spiritual awakening, and the profound transformation happening within us and around us. But here's the thing. We're not doing this with our heads in the clouds. We're bringing neuroscience, psychology, quantum physics, and cutting-edge research to the table alongside meditation, energy work, and timeless spiritual teachings. Because the truth is, the ascension of humanity isn't some far-off cosmic event. It's happening right now in the choices we make, the awareness we cultivate, and the healing we do within ourselves. Whether you're curious about how mindfulness literally rewires your brain, why shadow work is backed by depth psychology, or what coherence between your heart and mind actually means scientifically, you're in the right place. We'll explore practices like breathwork, meditation, and emotional alchemy, not as abstract concepts, but as tangible tools grounded in both spiritual wisdom and scientific understanding. And here's where it gets even better. In our bonus episodes, you'll hear from real people sharing real stories. These are the warriors, the healers, the everyday seekers who've walked through their own darkness and found their light. They'll share their breakthroughs, their struggles, and the resources that actually helped them along the way. Because personal growth isn't a solo journey, and you deserve to know you're not alone. So whether you're just beginning to question the nature of reality, or you're deep in your spiritual practice, this podcast is your companion on the path. It's time to expand, to awaken, and to rise together. Let's begin. Today's guest has been doing this work for 25 years. And when she talks about the body, she talks about it the way someone does when they've lived it, not just studied it. Wendy Fisher is a yoga teacher, licensed massage therapist, Soma breath facilitator, Qigong teacher, and Reiki practitioner. She's been teaching yoga for a quarter century. She has licensure in multiple states, and she came to all of this the way a lot of us do, through her own body breaking down and demanding she listen. In 2019, she was diagnosed with severe scoliosis. She was in so much pain that she could barely stand up. And instead of defaulting to pharmaceuticals, she went looking for something that would work, and found breathwork. Specifically, Soma breath. And then she layered in Qigong. And then she started teaching all three together, and the results speak for themselves. Her framework is simple and genuinely life-changing. We are our own internal pharmacy. The dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin, the endorphins, all of it is already in there. Conscious breath and intentional movement are how we access it. Soma breath is even endorsed by Cambridge University as a treatment for resistant depression and anxiety. This isn't woo. This is science that the ancients already knew, and Wendy is one of the people bringing it back. In this episode, we talk about the human antenna, what it means to be out of alignment, and how breath and movement help you clear the static. We talk about Kripalu yoga as meditation in motion, and why that distinction matters for people who think they can't meditate. We talk about intermittent hypoxic training, why carbon dioxide tolerance is the piece everyone's missing, and what actually happens in the body when you hold your breath. And we talk about how 25 years of teaching lands differently when you've used these tools to heal your own body first. This one is grounded, practical, and full of the kind of embodied wisdom that only comes from someone who's been living the work. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Wendy Fisher. She is doing all kinds of amazing things. She is a yoga teacher, a Soma breath facilitator. She's been doing all kinds of stuff. She does Qigong, Reiki, all kinds of things that I'm really excited for you to hear about. How are you doing today, Wendy?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Heather.
Awesome. It's so good to have you here today. Why don't you go ahead and get started and tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, like you said, I am a yoga teacher. I've been a yoga teacher for 24 years now. I'm a licensed massage therapist. I've been in practice for 25 years at that. I'm also a Soma breathwork facilitator. And yeah, I do Reiki as well. So I'm sort of like a spiritual toolkit here. And yeah, I just started incorporating the breath work into my yoga classes. I feel like it's been kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's been a little bit dismissed. As a yoga teacher, I myself taught some breath work, the basics during the classes. But once I became a Soma breath facilitator, I realized that, and I've known it, but the pranayama part of our yoga practice is just like the icing on the yoga cake. You know, there's the hatha yoga, which is the asanas, and then the breath work. It's like it's just so important to bring that into a yoga practice. It's one of the limbs of yoga. And for myself, even as a student in yoga classes, I noticed that teachers weren't really addressing it to the depth and width that we could be addressing it. Not all yoga classes, but many. And I also teach qigong, so I'm just all about moving energy. That's what I do, that's what I teach, and we're energetic beings. And literally we are vibrating. And so with the movements and the breath work, we can regulate our nervous system and move like the energy out and make room for higher vibrational energy through just conscious movement. I like to think of us as, and I've heard this before, a human antenna, right? And so when we're out of alignment, we're getting static on our screen, the screens of our minds, the screens of our bodies. And so through moving in certain ways, we can adjust our antenna and create a clear screen, a clear image, and release a lot of energies that just don't serve us in the evolution of our souls and humanity. So that's what I love to do and teach. And that's my mission, is to just raise our vibratory state, our frequency. We're operating on frequencies. And we just don't seem to realize. And it's a mind body connection. You know, the mind is in the body. And so what I teach, what I've learned is that through conscious movement and conscious breath, we can facilitate a greater awareness of our energy system and move from there. You know, energy, emotions, right? They're energy in motion. And so when we can move these energies and sort of purge these lower frequency states like anger, frustration, sadness, all of these low sort of, you know, emotions that keep us stuck, and we can then make room for those higher vibrational states like joy and love and peace. And it's all possible, but we've been kind of programmed to stay in these lower states through conditioning and just life. Life has a way of bringing us down, and we sink into these states without even conscious awareness. So that's my teaching, and that's what I do.
That's amazing. And I think it's so important, the mind body connection, but also the energetic factor too. Like even if I can't, like I try to work out every day. I try to get some body movement because I do sit at a desk and when I work, but when you feel those emotions, it's amazing how just moving your body, if I can't get outside or I can't, do whatever I do, I put headphones on and I'll just have like a 5, 10, 15 minute dance party in my office and just move and just shake out all that stagnant energy. And it really makes such a big difference. I think people don't understand like taking a walk out in nature, because now you're getting the movement and the grounding, but and the fresh air, and it makes such a big difference. And even with the breath work too, like I'm guilty of this myself. I'm terrible at focusing on the breath work, and it's such an easy thing. We're already breathing,
It's just conscious breathing. And it's so simple and so easy and makes such a big difference that it really, I don't know. I just did this hypnosis thing for regulating your nervous system, and it had breath work in it. And some of these breathing exercises like really calmed down my brain, really helped me like connect to my body. And it really truly is fascinating how that both of those things actually really help a lot.
Yeah, in Soma breath, we teach rhythmic breathing, which is patterned breathing. So, you breathe in 2, 3, 4, and out 2, 3, 4. Not that fast, but I'm just giving you a quick overview of the process. And that helps to bring your heart into coherence.
Mhm.
And then we take it further and we do breath holding. Intermittent hypoxic training is really what it is in Western science. In Eastern science, it's kumbhaka. And so when we're holding our breath, it's just amazing what happens because we are becoming more carbon dioxide tolerant. And that is attached, connected to the parasympathetic nervous system. It's a relaxant. They say to when you're having a panic attack, breathe into a paper bag. That's because you're increasing your carbon dioxide tolerance. And what's happening is that your blood vessels and your arteries are expanding. And then when you go to take a deep breath in, you're oxygenating all these like dormant places, just engaging the whole body. Because when you hold your breath out, you're dropping off the red blood cells, the oxygen from the red blood cells into your bloodstream. It's just a fascinating process. So I am so passionate about Soma breath and yoga, of course. It's all yoga, pranayama, but yeah, it's changed my life dramatically. I used to always be in a fight or flight
I think a lot
state.
of us are,
Eh,
yeah.
I know a lot of us are without even knowing it. We're just in this sort of low hum of like a low vibration and just this feeling of despair or hopelessness or just sorrow, and just this whole process brings the body and mind into alignment and things become possible. I've been through a lot and I've lost my house to a fire more than once.
Wow.
I've been divorced. I've been through skin cancer surgery. I've used it a lot. But I just have learned to regulate my nervous system, which is the biggest part of this all. And it's just so healing. And that centeredness, that calmness, that's where we can start to think clearly and not react, right? We can respond to stresses. There's always going to be stresses in life, but it's how we respond to that can make or break your day, your life. And that's the magic. And it's all within us. All
That's
these hormones, we're moving the energy, which is hormonal, our endocrine glands, and just decreasing our cortisol. We're like we have this process called a dose, and I can't remember the name of the A, but the dose is the dopamine, the O is the oxytocin, the S is the serotonin, and the E are the endorphins. And so we are our own internal pharmacy, and we can regulate these hormones and increase the movement and the energy of these hormones just by this breathing process. So, Soma's been studied by Cambridge University and endorsed by Cambridge University, and for depression and anxiety as a treatment for resistant depression and anxiety. So it's magic. It's just a magical process. And then you add in, so I teach Kripalu yoga, which is present-based awareness yoga. And so that, along with the breath work, and then I add the magic of qigong, which is just like circulating all this good qi, prana. And yeah, it's just a very magical process. So,
And
yeah.
that's what makes it even more amazing is that there's all this science to back it up too. Like it's
Mhm.
not just, a woo-woo or whimsical thing. Like there is actually research that shows that these things really do help your body.
Yes, yes, that's what, we've come from that same place. I'm a very spiritually guided person, but I'm a logical person and I've always been intrigued by the science of it. And I noticed even when I was in massage school training, I'm licensed in New York, I'm licensed in several states, but we had to study the endocrine system and having the yogic background. And I noticed this interesting correlation between the endocrine system and the chakras.
Oh yeah,
And every one of those systems, like the ancients knew it way before we did in the scientific world, right? Because all of these chakras align with the endocrine glands. It's incredible.
absolutely.
Yeah. So there is the science backing what the ancients knew, and it's a beautiful marriage, in my opinion. And you just probably hear the passion and excitement in my voice because it's like groundbreaking. I've got this, it's like we are so convinced in society that a pill is the way to heal us. And the reality is that it's all within us. We are our own internal medicine cabinet. And that's what I'm bringing. My mission is to, you know, let people empower themselves instead of, and the side effects of these pills,
Don't get me started.
it's just, it's crazy. See these commercials every 3 minutes, and the side effects are worse than the disease.
So you obviously are very passionate and this is your mission. What kind of got you into all of this? How did you start? How did you find out that this was what you wanted to do?
Since I was little, like, I just had this curiosity about spirit. And I used to pray when I was like 6. I always do, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to
Oh yeah.
keep. And I was blessing everybody. And then as I got older, I was just so intrigued by like even just like the hippie clothes and like, and then I've always wanted to be a vegetarian. And I said when I had the choice to, feed myself, I would become a vegetarian. And then it's hard to explain. I really don't know. My stepmom gave me a book from 1965, and it was Yoga, Youth, and something, and Reincarnation. And it had all these stick figures of yoga postures, because this was like in the early like 90s, late 80s. And I would just like open the book and I would do these postures because there was no YouTube back then. There was no internet really. And I was just fascinated. So I'd look at the stick figures and I would do the postures, and it just resonated with me. And even when I went to Kripalu, just I just knew it's what I wanted to do. And I was the only person. Kripalu is like an internationally, celebrated yoga center. And I walk in, there's 50 students, yoga teachers in training, and I was the only one without a mat. And I was like, I just didn't know. I got one quick, but it just was something that called to me. It's really hard to explain. Now I understand more of my mission and why, but it was just a calling called me. And then with Soma, I was diagnosed with scoliosis later in life, severe scoliosis, and I was suffering a lot. In 2019, I was diagnosed with that. And I was just looking for a holistic treatment, and I actually am learned yoga for scoliosis, so I have that background as well, which has been super helpful. But I just wanted to learn more about how to like be pain free without drugs, and just stumbled upon breathwork online. And I signed up for one course, but I wasn't feeling so good about it. And then Niraj, Soma Breath came up on my feed, and I was like, this is the one. And the music is world class. Niraj, the founder of Soma, has designed it himself. He's a sound engineer and a pharmacist, was a pharmacist. And so I just started it. And Wim Hof, that was tough. Wim Hof was tough. I explored that. But so yeah, that's what kind of brought me into the Soma breath world. And so I added it with the yoga. So it was for my own pain and wanting to do it holistically and just then blending them together. I was like, and then I learned Qigong as well due to the scoliosis. And I just thought, well, this is magical. Like, if I could teach all three of these together, and that's what I've been doing. And I've been having incredible feedback, incredible results from students and clients. And so that's where I'm at. That's what I'm teaching.
So how has these methods and modalities helped with your scoliosis?
Oh, it's helped tremendously. I'm a massage therapist. That's what I'm trained as. And that was when I started back in 2019, right before I was diagnosed. I was in so much pain, I could literally barely stand up.
Wow.
And so I just, what was your question? I get so caught up in
No, it's okay. How has the new things that you've been teaching and doing, how has it helped your pain and everything?
Well, it's helped me manage the pain, and there's all these proprioceptors, and it's just made it manageable. It's just brought life back to my body, and my heart functions better, and just sends all these, like the dopamine, the oxytocin, all these feel-good chemicals help to kind of downregulate the sensory perception of pain. And now I can work without pain. I mean, I still do have pain, but it's not like it was. And so it's just the movement, like I said, we're just like human antennas. And so now I've learned how to move and breathe and regulate my nervous system I don't want to say tolerate, but to accept. I'm not sure if that's even the word.
Function.
The different, the muscular imbalances that scoliosis causes. That's where the pain comes from, is the muscular imbalances. So it's just the strengthening and the stretching and the movement of energy to those places that were locked up. It's like stagnant energy. That's what tension is. And so learning how to move the energy and release the tension, that's how it's helped me. Yeah.
Awesome. So there's tons of different kinds of yoga out there. You said that you specialize in a specific kind. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, Kripalu yoga. It's basically, meditation in motion. That's sometimes what I call some of my workshops and stuff, because it's like when we're moving and we're doing yoga, we're just a lot of times we're like, if you're in a class, right, you don't even realize it, or you do realize it. You're watching the person next to you and, oh, they're doing it. Why can't I? We're just watching the mind. That's meditation. You're just watching the mind. You're in a posture and you're just allowing it. We have this acronym. We call it Breathwork: breathe, relax, feel, watch, allow. So you're in a posture and you're feeling uncomfortable, or you're feeling inflexible, or you're telling stories about why you have this inflexibility or this pain. But instead of judging it, we're just breathing into it, relaxing into it, feeling it, watching it, and allowing it. And so it's just a mindful practice of yoga. There's like hot yoga seems to be the thing these days, and I've done it, and it just always seems to be a trend in yoga. But this is just a meditation in motion. When you're sitting in meditation, people are like, I can't meditate. I just can't stop thinking. And it's not about stopping thinking, it's about watching the thoughts. And so Kripalu yoga addresses that. So you're just watching the thoughts, you're observing them, but you're not in them. And so that's the differentiation between in other forms of yoga. It's all hatha yoga, the Western model, but this is just Yeah, it's meditation and in movement.
Awesome. Amazing. All right. So
Yeah.
if somebody wants to take advantage of your services, how would they find you?
Mhm. So I have a website. It's wendyjfisher.com. And there's a button that you can click and schedule a call or an appointment. I'm doing Zoom classes. And so if you connect with me through my website, I can then send you a link to my Zoom class. I've been sort of slow moving in the Zoom classes, just some technical issues I don't want to get into, but that's how you can connect with me.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it was lovely to speak with you today. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Of course.
I love talking about all of this stuff. It just lights me up, and it's just so important for people to empower themselves with their own health, and it's all within us. And so thank you so much for
Yeah, of
inviting me.
course.
If you're feeling called to go deeper, to actually sit in your own records and hear what your soul has been trying to tell you, that's what Akashic Records readings are for. I would love to hold that space for you. You can find everything at divineascensionco.com. Your answers already exist. Let's go find them together.